Welcome to the Q&A portion of our event this morning, everyone. You met Joe Rody, of course, earlier from Walt Disney Imagineering. I want to bring on two other guests from Marvel-themed entertainment. We have Brian Crosby. Marvel-themed entertainment represents the more than 9,000 characters throughout our superhero universe, and they incorporate how things get into our theme parks. So he has a very fun and challenging and interesting position to follow up. And then we also have the Vice President of Franchise Creative and Marketing from Marvel Studios, Dave Bouchard. And David helps integrate how all of our characters that you know and love from the Guardians of the Galaxy film and how we interact with all of them, how they appear in our attractions. So go ahead. So I'm gonna moderate this. So you're raising your hand, so I'll let you go ahead.
So obviously Marvel Studios is best known for creating the cinematic universe where everything's connected. You see stuff from both films in this. Talk about sort of where this fits into that and how that sort of affected the development.
You know, it was a really fun process. Early on, James got involved and the cast got involved, and I think that was such a cool, what's so cool about this is the idea that we can take all the fun stuff that's going on across the universe from all the different lines of business, from the films and everything, and bring it to this in a way, but in a cool new way and in a totally new experience. And sorry, what was the beginning of your?
Well, just sort of where does this fit into the MCU and how does that sort of?
I mean, it's a whole new story. I mean, the idea that you have the Collector and you have and all these other characters that have shown up in Volume 1, Volume 2, and other portions of other films and other things that go on across the Marvel Universe. It's a whole story unto itself. But I think what's fun about that too is the crossover that you get from film to film, the Easter eggs you see in the lobby, the idea that those Easter eggs can be refreshed and renewed with all new stuff, keeps the story fresh and new and keeps the story totally on its own plane, which is cool.
And it is distinctly meant to be its own universe. The dimensional universe will grow and expand, and there are elements in there that will relate to a dimensional universe. We really trying to not simply reflect on an existing narrative, but to extend narrative and expand it.
All right, next question. Question. Anyone? Let me start Q&A. Okay, in the back, go ahead.
So we know that there are 6 different random sequencers, vignettes. Are they equally as likely to come up?
The vignettes are fixed to the, each ride is a distinct ride. So the vignettes are shuffled through those rides. So within a ride, the vignettes don't shuffle. They are the vignettes of that ride. So there's 6 of those, 6 songs, 6 rides, 6 vignette sequences that you might see. So you might see the same one scene out of the several scenes repeated somewhere, but not necessarily in the same sequence, not necessarily in the same series of events.
Does the drop profile then change to match?
Profiles change as well.
Okay.
What were the challenges of working with the guy with the crazy earlobe?
Actually, there's no challenges at all. Joe and all the Imagineers were great to collaborate with. For us, we're always just excited to see any new iteration of our characters, whether it's in comics, animation, film, however they show up, and so down to have them translated into the theme parks, it's just an awesome experience, and Joe's been great. In fact, I think when we first started working, he kind of secluded himself to really kind of take in what this universe was all about, and then came back to us and told us what he believed it to be, and we totally bought in, so it's been great.
Is he going to be a collector or a character in the Marvel Universe?
If Benicio ever bows out, I think Joe will be
I'm a character in my own.
Arthur.
As the first major Marvel attraction in the United States, why Guardians of the Galaxy?
So that's an interesting question. There's something about Guardians of the Galaxy, that energy, there's an energy to it, there's a irreverence to it, there's a kind of a way in which it's actually really useful because it just comes out of nowhere. It's not necessarily You know, some of those hero brands, they have a different vibe about them. This is something that can come out of nowhere, basically install itself with an atmosphere of fun. It's funny, it's fun, it's humorous, it's not so serious. I think it's a really interesting way to get in, and get in fast, right? With something that's super energetic, super accessible, lovable in a way.
I think also it's kind of marrying the attraction experience with the right characters. So as we talked about Spider-Man, the Avengers, whoever, Guardians quickly rose to the top as the right characters for this kind of story that Joe and his team wanted to tell.
Tell a bit more about James Gunn's involvement. I know you spoke at the last pressing a bit about it, but what was his sort of main thoughts on doing this attraction? What did he want to see the most as you were developing it?
I think it was, I mean, I'll let Joe speak this a little bit. I think bringing James on early on in the process was great because, you know, the Guardians, you know, he has a very unique voice for all the characters. Obviously, you see that throughout the films and throughout the ride, and I think the partnership that he had with Joe and the WDI team and the Imagineers was awesome, and sort of trying to mix those two worlds between Parks and the Guardians and James's vision for what he did for the film was a really fun collaboration.
In order to really believe that they are the Guardians, you really do have to have the same directorial attitude about body movement, vocal performance, everything, right? That's hard to substitute. It's almost like an artist's hand in a painting. You look at a painting, you can just tell who painted it by their hand. So a directorial hand is like that. You've got to have these people in there so that it really has that hand. And so the action that you see, the performance that you see, all of that goes back to Gunn and his way of working with the cast to get the Guardians to be the Guardians.
Yeah, I think the other part of that too is the uniqueness of what Joe and the team brought to the ride in terms of ride profiles and the challenges and the fun that they had in building those ride profiles, and how that relates to the soundtracks for the film and the specific soundtracks for this ride was a really fun collaboration too with James and sort of how that new iteration can sort of live here.
I think you had a question. Oh, sorry, we'll get back to you after a minute, James.
What was the reaction of the cast when they were informed that they were going to be in the first Disney Marvel theme park collaboration?
I wasn't lucky enough to be in Atlanta when they pitched it to them, but I know that from what I heard that most of them were like this. Like most of the cast of our films are huge fans of the parks and could probably tell you a lot more about them than most. But the reaction was awesome. Obviously, like you're forever enshrined in the Disney park is pretty amazing in and of itself. But I know Joe got to be down there with them and work with them on it and a bunch of other.
Well, not only they were, of course, very gracious to take time out of their production schedule to do it, right? Because they're busy people, but super excited, super enthusiastic. They put everything into this. We're down there, we're filming. It's a different style of performance as well, because remember, there are no close-ups, there are no cutaways. It's almost more like a big stage performance. It's bigger, it's broader, it's more active. So they were having a blast because it's actually ever so slightly a different kind of thing they're being asked to do. Everybody was great. They really were fabulous.
Rocket was a little.
And then
I think our reaction was even more excited that they were excited and willing to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the story of how the fortress here fits into the surrounding Hollywood Studios backlight here?
So it's not out there yet.
Okay.
But there will be an absolute line of charred, burnt, blasted sidewalk where this thing appeared out of nowhere, like it does in all those films. Somebody just unzippers the universe and there's a 700-foot-long Chitauri flying robot creature. Somebody opens a door and they step through into another dimensional universe. You know, somebody turns a machine on and an entire other galaxy appears in a desert somewhere. That is the world we're talking about. It is a world where marvels appear out of nowhere in our world. So our indication will be this burnt absolute line in which you literally can stand in two worlds in a moment. This old familiar world you know, and a world made completely new by the appearance out of nowhere of a marvelous object.
And when Joe says nowhere, that's KN.
Okay, we have time for two more questions. Brady, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
You talked about how it fits into, the new ride fits into Hollywood Studios. Can you talk a little bit about how it will fit into the larger view of what we might call it a Marvel land or something like that? I've heard you describe the tower as sort of like the castle of DCA.
Well, I mean, the future in this park is still in development, so I don't know that we can, it becomes foolhardy to say what you are going to do while you're doing it. All those things are in development now, but there will be more, it will grow, it will extend, but I believe it will always present itself as an integrated, cross-integrated world. There are, in fact, clues in that hallway that link to Hong Kong. So that world is already starting to emerge as something real in our world. But more than that, it would be foolhardy to say because we're doing it, and while you're doing it, it changes.
Well, one of the hallmarks of our experience, of our universe too, is that idea of everything is connected. That they've established in the cinematic universe, and Joe mentioned Hong Kong, also on the Disney cruise ships. It's all kind of connected, so there are clues everywhere about how this dimensional universe comes together.
Okay, our final question, go ahead.
Joe, was there something with this that was a particular breakthrough for WDI that you just really stand proud on that we could see maybe down the line in other places?
Oh, that's interesting. Apart from the astonishing speed. That's an interesting question. Let me think about that for just a moment. You know, we are seeing a world coming in which dimensional design, media design, the integrations are getting more and more sophisticated. Almost everything we see happening now, both here and on the other coast and what's coming, there's this greater and greater trading off, passing off, handing back and forth between built environments, virtual environments, the ride experience, the script experience, the involvement, the more immersive quality of making the story surround you. That, I think, is a trend line we should expect to see continue.
I want to thank our three presenters here today. Thank you for your time in this Q&A and for showing us this fabulous attraction.